Welcome back, thanks for tuning in. Before I get started on today's video, I hope everyone has had a wonderful holiday season, and I would like to wish you all a nice, happy, and productive new year, and also I would like to thank you all for taking the time and coming by and watching what I do here. I do really appreciate it all, and yeah, thank you very much. As you can see here, this is a Lego diorama of the second movie for Wicked. My wife is into anything Oz, all the original stuff, and we have quite a collection of things. So my daughter decided to pick up this Lego set. It's well over 1,500 pieces. It was huge. It took us over 4 hours to put together. And then it comes with two little Lego pieces on the back, which are designed to hold where the screws would mount it to a wall. And I was kind of dubious about that from the very beginning, but there's a couple other things that came up that made me decide that this display case would be a much better idea. First off, while I was deciding what to do with this, it was sitting on our dining room table, and well, the family cat, my cat, decided to jump up on the table and have a look at it. And before I knew it, he had picked up, the Wicked Witch was in the top right-hand corner, pulled her off, and was making off with her. So I said, well, that's not good, because even if I mount this to a wall, he can jump really high. And I figured he might just start batting pieces off. And like I said, it took 4 hours to get this thing together. And the second problem is, this thing's a dust trap. It's not going to take very long before this thing's going to get coated in dust, and it'll have to be dusted and everything else. And I'm not sure how much it would withstand that sort of thing. Maybe it'll start knocking pieces off, and I wouldn't know where they go. This thing came with a over half-inch thick manual on how to put all the pieces together, and like I said, I don't really want to have to go through that again. It was fun to do once, but pieces keep getting knocked off. Well, anyway, long story short, I decided the best thing to do would be to make a nice little display case for it and mount that to the wall, and that way it'll be protected from dust and also from my cat. So there, that is the plan. So what I've done here so far is I'm cutting the sides for this. Obviously this has 4 sides, and I'm going to route out the back and the front. The back is going to have a 1/4-inch groove in it, and I'm going to use that to stick in a piece of plywood. And the front's going to have an 1/8-inch groove, and that's where a sheet of plexi is going to slide in, and that's going to be the dust protection, and also you're going to see what's going on in there. And I know my my saw sled here with my clamp and my bracket system for measuring and getting as precise as possible is probably not the best system, but I find it works really well, and I am getting really used to how to set these things up to do this sort of thing. I've done a lot of rabbets to test out rabbets joints, and I made some boxes and drawers and all kinds of stuff, and there's a couple of things I always found that are really helpful, and this is probably the most important one right here. I always take a piece of wood that's similar to what I'm going to be doing all the routing with. I do that on a piece of scrap. That way I can make sure that the saw blade is at the right height, and the distance from the corner is where I want it to be. And at this point I decided, I'll cut all the backs, and then I realized, because I always write on a yellow pad what I need to do. I realized the front is also 1/4-inch from the front, so I just flopped it over, and I did both grooves at the same time. So yeah, it worked out really well. And as I said, I've been doing an awful lot of these things, so it goes by really fast, as you can see. I know this is at 2 times speed, but you can tell it doesn't take very long. Maybe 20 minutes for me to cut all of the rabbets or grooves, and able to go on to the next step. So this is the 1/8. So this is a 1/8-inch blade, and as you can see, it sort of fits. But I want this to be able to slide up and down, just in case. I don't honestly, think we're ever going to take this thing out of this case. But if it comes up, I need it to be able to slide up and down like that. So yes, that is the plan so far. And because there's 2 sides to this now. They're no longer symmetrical, so I'm going to put a little piece of tape on here, mark the fronts, finish off those grooves, and then flip it over and do the 1/4 inch for the backside. And then I'm going to do it exactly the same way. I'm going to first cut it at 1/4 inch and then see if there are any minor adjustments need to be done for that afterwards. And like I said, this is really speedy, and I really, I mean, I was very happy about how this is all going. But you can see there's something coming up in a few minutes that I haven't done an awful lot of, and it did end up resulting in me having to cut all new pieces. I'll get to it in a few minutes, but it was a little discouraging. But the fact that it only took me 20 minutes to do this part made it so that it was a bearable mistake. So this is cutting the 1/4 inch in the back, and like I said, this part is all very straightforward. I've done this a great many times now, and yes, I do like this approach where I will cut just a little bit under usually, or like leave the material on so I can remove more material if I need to, and always, of course, again, using a test piece. So I did that, and then I'm going to take a little center strip that's there, and this time I was off by a little bit more than I needed, but again, it's a test piece, so it doesn't really matter. So I was just fiddling it back and forth. It has a bit of give in there, so I moved it back about a 32nd of an inch just to make it a bit tighter. And you can hardly even see that move at all. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut one of the backs, make sure that it is where I want it to be. It is not essential that it's perfect because, again, this is all going to get assembled and it's glued and everything. If it's off by a 32nd or 64th or whatever, it doesn't really make any real difference. It's going to be in the back end, and no one will ever see it. As it turns out, it was exactly what I wanted. It had the right amount of give. I mean, it doesn't slide well, and there's very little wiggle, but it does go in well, which is the important bit. So I'm going to cut the rest of those off camera, and then we're going to get onto the part where I messed up, and that's here. Now, I made this, it's a miter jig. It's very straightforward. It's in one of my other videos, and you can go have a look if you like. It works really well. The part I messed up on is the amount of material that is lost. Not that little piece there, that's fine. But you can see the miter is a lot thicker than the regular thickness of the piece of wood itself. So what happened is, I'm figuring this out right now as I do this, I didn't make them long enough. It was the diorama will fit inside once I've done the miters. I was not happy. So this is an entirely new box, which I cut out. I do have the other one still, of course, because there's nothing wrong with it other than the fact that that current diorama will fit in it. Maybe my daughter will get my wife another one. I don't know. I'm not sure what's going to happen with it. I may find another use for it. I might turn into another display case for some of our other stuff. I don't think it's going to go to waste, but it was just one of those moments, where, like I said, I'm not accustomed to doing a lot of miter joints, so I wasn't allowing enough material. Anyway, enough of that. So this is very straightforward now. Just going to do a quick glue up, and I've done a lot of testing on these. This joint with the rabbet at the bottom and the miters on the side, it's really strong. I mean, it is very strong, so I'm not even remotely concerned that's going to have any difficulty holding up the little Lego set up there. So yeah, this is going to be really quite cool. So yeah, I'm going to glue this up. It'll only take a few minutes. And one thing I want to mention before I forget, because I've almost got through this video and I haven't mentioned it yet, you see at the top of the screen there, that is my new case for, when I go working and I want to use it for holding all the different screws and bolts and all that sort of stuff I bring with me. When this piece is not in the way, and also when we'll end up panning upwards here in a few moments, I have all of the acrylic pieces for the drawers cut, and I've decided a certain way to make those drawers, there were a couple of options like putting lids on them and all sorts of stuff. But I think that what I came up with is really kind of an interesting idea, and that will be the next video I'll do. It'll be involving putting those drawers together. It'll be a nice acrylic build for those of you who enjoy those acrylics. I do like acrylic drawers. They do work really, really well. And anyway, it should turn out to be a really good build. So this is the final piece going on here, and one other little hiccup happened putting this together, and it's coming up here shortly, and that involves masking tape. It is kind of funny because it doesn't happen all the time, but every now and then, especially when you get near the end of a roll, which is, I am going to be doing here shortly. This is, you can just see there, it's about maybe an eighth to 3/8 of a roll left there, and as you pull stuff off, they just tear. And then you got to fiddle with it and try to get it to give you a nice lengthy piece, because I want to get this together. And that's the other funny thing about this. It always seems to happen when I'm trying to do a glue up like this and I'm trying to get stuff together, and you can see I'm fiddling with this. This is at 2 times speed, and I just gave up. I threw it in the trash, and then I got a new roll. New roll should be fine. It was fully protected, and I always stack them so that they don't get banged up. The first, maybe 2 turns on this one, for some reason, just didn't want to work right, and you can see I'm fiddling with that there as well. It was just one of those masking tape days where it just doesn't want to do what it wants to do, or what you want it to do. So there you go. I'm going to finish this all up, tape it all up, and then off camera I'm going to pull all that tape off. Actually, I'm not sure if some of that got on there. Anyway, we'll see in a few moments. I'll pull all the tape off, do some sanding. I do all my sanding off camera now, because it is very straightforward and boring. And also what I want to do for this is I'm going to put a little bit of boiled linseed oil on here. I want to protect this a little bit, give it a bit of color. This turned out nice and square, which is great. And the thing right at the top there I also didn't do on camera is I just ran that one piece before, obviously, glue up, to allow the plexiglass lid to go and slide up and down through it. So there you go. And this is the next day. I've done a bit of sanding, I think, at this point. I wanted to make sure everything fits, as it does. And what I need to do now is just cut the plexiglass lid. Most of that will be off camera as well, because it's the same process. I do this the same way for everything that I do, which is cut it a little bit big and then gradually reduce it in size. I get the right feel for how it slides up and down. Not really crucial, but it gives you a nice feel to how it goes up and down. You don't want it to be too loose. You really don't want it to not be quite wide enough and end up having issues with it possibly popping out if it slides all the way into one groove. Anyway, it was very easy. This is the last slice here, just trimming off an ever so small amount, and I'm going to set it up here for you to look at. It worked out really quite well. It went in very smoothly, and we're going to slide it down here. There you go. And only one other thing to do after it's rested in the bottom groove. Bottom groove wasn't necessary at all, but I find 1/8 inch acrylic can bow in time, so being held at the bottom is going to keep it from doing that. Well, at least to a point. And now I just put a piece of masking tape to make it flush with the top. Really unimportant, but I think it looks a little bit more aesthetic if it is flush. So I'm just going to cut that there, and then we're going to do one last fit, and then we're good. We're done. Just have to mount it to the wall. I didn't show any of the mounting of the wall. I just used easy anchors and drilled a couple holes near the top, and yeah, just attach it to the wall and then put the diorama in. Oh, this is one thing about acrylic that's mildly annoying, and that is fresh acrylic is a lot of static cling to it, and dust, all sorts of stuff gets on it. I'm going to give it a good wipe down before it actually goes where it needs to go, but there you go. It snaps in place, and it's all done. So yeah, I'm just going to go take this up to where it's going to go on the wall, a wall that needs to be painted, but that's fine. We'll do that some other time. And there you go. The diorama is finished. Please leave comments. Let me know what you think about all this. And I'll see you in the next video. And bye for now.